Hey, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Thriving Thoughts. I'm your host, Dr. Sherri. Today is your third installment of my mini series on redeeming the time. If you checked out the first episode in this mini series from 2 Fridays ago, you'll know that I talked about how it's so important for us to be aware, be cognizant, and be purposeful with the fact that we have a limited amount of time, to evaluate the time that we have spent and perhaps the time that we have wasted. And then last Friday, I talked about a very practical way to do that in several different areas of your life. Go back and listen to that. We talked about how to be deliberate with your mail, how to be deliberate when you're driving, how to be deliberate when connecting, how to be deliberate when eating, and all of that deliberation was to prepare you for today's message and to distract you from the tendency, the human tendency of us to lament the time wasted or to fear the time we have left. I've heard from so many people, probably myself included from time to time, we might say something like, if only I could go back. If only I could do that thing over again. If I had one do-over in life, it would be what? I know it's about to spill off of your lips right now. If you had one do-over in life, what would it be? Well, here's a little spoiler alert, friends. You don't get any do-overs. And that's not something to lament. That's something to celebrate. Because, friends, your past is your past, and using the present, the right here, the right now, filling the present with lament for time wasted, will land you in a future that you don't want. Lamenting the past is when all of the shoulds and the should nots come into play. It's when the evaluation of self tends to turn negative. Listen, there's nothing wrong with evaluating the past, evaluating your patterns, evaluating your decisions to see how you typically respond to life's events, to see how you respond to life's challenges, because in that evaluation, you can learn as a person, you can grow, you can flourish, you can prosper as you evaluate. But evaluating independently of emotional judgment. So when you are evaluating your past, it's okay. What do I typically do in this situation? How do I respond typically? What are the emotions that come up for me? And is that beneficial to me? If it's not, there is no use. There is no use but to waste more time, to lament the fact that those are the choices that you've made in the past. See, right now you've been called to redeem the time. Redeeming, buying something back is only something that you can do right here, right now. So we can use today's insight about yesterday's choices to decide and determine and direct what we do in today's moment, right here, right now. We can't use that insight to decide what we're going to do in the future. We might say, this is how I want to be in the future. This is who I want to be in the future. But again, pouring our energy into a future that we are unable to predict, pouring our energy into a future that we don't even know if we have, robs today of its joy. And if your intention is to redeem the time in your life, the time that you've been given, the time that you were gifted this morning when God woke you up with renewed breath in your lungs to live yet another day, the only time you have is right here, right now. And this is not a mindfulness exercise where you don't care about the past and you don't care about the future. It's not about not caring. It's about controlling what you can control. It's about ransoming, buying back what is right in front of you. And the only thing that's right in front of you is right here, right now. So that's why last week I talked with you about some practical ways to be deliberate in the moment. You might think, gosh, these are just such mundane things. Yes. And life, everyday life, consists of mundane things. You know, life is not a big, grand climax of a movie, right? We've watched these movies from Hollywood, from Fantasyland, and there's a little part of us that we know it's fantasy, but we still choose to make that a little wish. I wish in the back of my mind, that's how my life would be. And then we say, see, that's not how my life was, so my life could never be that way. Let me touch on something really quick about looking back and looking forward. Every one of you watching and listening has a mental health with which you are responsible to take care. You are responsible for your mental, emotional well-being. That's why I do this show, Thriving Thoughts, because I want you to control what you can control, and that's the thoughts that you think. It may not be the initial thoughts that you think, but it is certainly what comes next. So let me touch on this. When we choose to live in a thought world that is striving, the reason it's striving is because it's impossible. If we feel like we're just treading water, if we feel like we're trying to stay afloat, that is not a thriving life. That is not an abundant life. That is a striving life. And the reason that so many of us are there is because of our perspective of time, because of our choice to not redeem the time that's right in front of us. So instead, we fill the time that's right here, right now, the time that's right in front of us, the time that is presented to us to buy back, and we fill that with the past. We fill that with things that have gone on in our past. We fill that with regrets, with feelings of guilt, with perceptions of failure. We fill our present with the defeat of the past. And when we focus our thoughts on the past, guess what we are prone to do? We are prone to depress, become sad, reflecting on my life. Oh my gosh, I've wasted so much time. I responded not in the best way in this situation. I made the wrong choice here. I took the wrong road here. Listen, the only thing lamenting on that will do is choose to live in a more striving thought world, one in which, as William Glasser, the author of Choice Theory, says, we choose to depress. We choose to be sad. You don't have to be there. That is not redeeming the time. Nor is a thought world that's focused on fear of the future. If your thought worlds in the present are consumed with fears about the future, then you are also in a striving thought world because you can't predict the future. It's uncontrollable. The only thing you have influence over is right now. I did a podcast interview the other day, and one of the sagest pieces of advice that came out of that was, if we can learn to be invested in the process and divorced from the outcome, that's how we redeem the time. We take a hold, we seize what is right in front of us, and we use that with all of our might. You see, when I'm looking back at the past, when I'm choosing to depress about places I've been, things I've done, things I've said, choices I've made, I'm choosing to depress and I'm choosing to rob right here, right now. Again, I'm not redeeming anything. I'm robbing it yet again. And this too will be a moment that I despair of in the future. I can't control the past. I cannot change it. That is a striving thought world to choose to live there. Similarly, choosing to live in the future, the fear, the uncertainty, the doubts, all of those things are strengthened with a mindset that is focused on the future, that is focused on something you can't control. Sure, you can have goals, you can have desires, you can make plans and use those plans and goals as a compass for what you're doing right now, but not as a focus, a consumption of the time that is in front of you right here, right now. Here's a question that I offer you to ask yourself to help keep you on track, to liberate you from the past and to liberate you from the fear, uncertainty, and doubt of the future. And this is the question. Is what I'm doing right now aligned with what I say I want? Is it aligned with what I say I value? Is what I'm doing right now aligned with who I am and who I say I want to be? When you answer yes to that question, to those variations of that question, you allow yourself to rest. To rest easy, to rest in this thriving thought world of, yes, I am seizing the moment right now. I am evaluating it. I know this is exactly where I need to be. This is my purpose. That's what we mean by walking in our purpose. So many times people think of purpose as this grand plan that we're not yet privy to. I don't know what plan God has for me, but I know it's something good. Friend, your plan is right here, right now. It's in what you choose to do right here, right now. What do you value? Do you value connection and time with loved ones, friends, family member? If you do, then is what you're choosing to do, think, or say right now aligned with that expressed desire or value? If it's not, then either you're lying to yourself about that value or it's an opportunity to redeem the time. To make sure that you are making that a priority in the right here, right now. Don't give yourself permission to say, I'll do it later. That is not redeeming the time. You will wake up in the future with more lament about these opportunities presented to you as gifts to walk out your purpose. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be a confident person? Right here, right now is your opportunity to be confident. It's time to advocate for yourself. Right here, right now, redeem the time. Pick up the phone, have a conversation, share what you know you need to share to advocate for yourself, because right now is all you have. If you have a desire to tell somebody your story, to tell somebody about your relationship with God, if you have a desire to do that, don't say, I'll do that. Don't say, I'll get a chance to do that later. Redeem the time. Do it now. This is your plan. The desires that are in your heart, that is your plan. And desire, the Latin root means of the heavens, which is essentially, we can extrapolate and say of the Father. And if you have a relationship with God and you have a desire in your heart, His word promises to grant you the desires of your heart. And it's your responsibility to walk in them right now, not wait for some blinding light of revelation to reveal this grand plan, but to trust that the plan is accomplished in the right here and the right now. Do you want to be a loyal friend? Set up a coffee date with your friend after you guys have been vaccinated, or wear your masks. Set up a coffee date. Set up a Zoom date. Set up a FaceTime call. Reach out. Don't give yourself another moment to pass by that you will one day lament. Listen, this is not to put pressure on yourself. It's impossible to do everything you want to do in the right here, right now, but you can listen to the still small voice that whispers, yes, this is right. Walk in this way right now. So my friends, that's what it takes to redeem the time, is what you're doing right now aligned with what you say you want and who you say you want to be. Buy back the time. Cease now from lamenting time wasted. Cease now from fearing time yet to be filled. Focus on right here, right now, and let's redeem the time together. Share this episode with a friend. You guys, I'm so grateful for your support. We have one more week left for season 4 of the show, and I can't wait to announce to you the theme of season 5. It is going to be one heck of a ride, and I can't wait to share it with you. Please remember that I have a Thriving Thoughts texting community, and I'd love for you to be a part of that. It's $2.99 a month or $29 for the year, and you get encouragement and challenge straight to your text messaging inbox from me and the opportunity to engage with me in the process. All you need to do to sign up is text the word THRIVE to 540-369-2139 until Monday with our final interview of season 4. Remember to speak truth over the lies, and you will thrive, I promise, in any and every circumstance.